Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 195. My name is Jason. I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy. And as always, I've got my co-host Hans from the Hans East Texas channel. How are you tonight, Hans?
Man, awesome. We are fresh back from SHOT Show. We did survive. Barely. We barely survived.
Barely.
We got some bruises and some bandage tape on us. We're in classic form. Some of us come back not feeling great, but we're all here on the show. We're ready to go. And I'm going to tell you, everybody, y'all need to hold on to this. Don't go anywhere. First of all, we got the state of the industry. What better time to talk about the state of the night vision and thermal industry than, starting out a brand new year, fresh off a SHOT Show last week where all the new stuff is announced. Jason and I have a lot of things to talk about, positive trends and negative trends, but stay tuned after that because we are, what people really want to know is who are the winners for our largest and biggest giveaway that we've ever done. All the American Defense Manufacturing mounts and gear and all that stuff. We have the winners scientifically chosen at random. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. I know Jason and our office manager, Michaela, made sure that vote, or not that vote, but that drawing happened fairly, and there's not going to be a need for any recounts. So y'all stay tuned.
There's no hanging
recounts.
chads.
Yeah.
So Hans is right. We just got back from Vegas, and this year Hans and I made it back unscathed. Our wives both came dragging back sick, and
on stretchers.
Yeah,
pretty much
on stretchers. Yeah, they both came back sick, and it's hard to go to Las Vegas and spend any time there. Especially going to something like the SHOT Show with that many thousands of people and not pick something up. So I've already told everybody around here, listen, if there is a new variant of COVID that shows up in East Texas, you can probably blame me.
Yeah.
We probably brought something crazy back. But Hans and I think we were feeling better by the time we got home than when we went. So
absolutely.
We were glad to come home feeling better. But, I was out there for 6 days, and I don't think anybody needs to be in Vegas for 6 days. That's a long time, but we had a good time there, and we were glad to get back. And, we were out of the office for a week. We worked while we were out there. We were making a lot of phone calls and replying to emails and doing all we could while we had time. But we knew when we got back it was going to be bad. Yeah. It was going to be busy. As bad as we thought it was going to be, I think we underestimated how bad Monday was.
Yeah.
It was ridiculously busy. But
we typically record this show on Mondays, and we're actually recording it on Tuesday of this week because at the end of the day, we were just like, there's no way we can do this. It was, we were exhausted.
I think I got off the last phone call at 7 p.m. and I was like, there's no way we can't record this now. So no, but we're here and we thank y'all for all the listeners that watched, or listened to either one. A lot of the SHOT Show stuff, we put out more content than we've ever put out. Yep. And, not saying that all of it was interesting to everybody. It was a lot of different manufacturer stuff. Well, that's what we did with that. We put it out in a way where you could choose what you wanted to see, and the response has been very good. So we thank you for that, and we thank you for all of y'all who have called since we've been back and, ordered stuff and waited till we got back. And so anyway, just thank you very much to all the listeners. We really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, go back to last week's episode 194, live from SHOT Show. I mean, I might be biased, but I think it was our best show from SHOT Show that we've done.
For sure.
We were actually re-recorded right in the middle of the convention hall. I mean, we talked about we had snagged a booth, an empty booth, and I thought, I've gone back and watched it a couple times, and I thought it was a great show, and it's definitely done really well. A lot of good feedback. But so today, and on tonight's episode, we are talking about, like I said, the state of the industry, night vision and thermal industry. We're going to talk about the positives. There's a lot of positive things to talk about, so that's probably going to be the bulk of the conversation. But we also want to talk about some negatives, and these aren't huge negatives, but things that kind of popped up on the radar. They may not have just popped up now. They might have been popped up last year. But negative trends that you kind of need to look at obviously, though, there's a lot of positives. So we're going to run right through those and kind of we're going to be the cheerleading session for the industry for the first 10 or 15 minutes to talk about how awesome it is and how good everything's good. And there's a lot of good things to talk about, a lot of good optics that we talked about last week. But where are we going, Jason? Where is this? I mean, this is an oil boom. And, every year we're like, man, is it going to, what point is the industry going to slow down? And I'm going to tell you, business just keeps exploding. This industry is, the popularity continues to grow. More and more states are legalizing night vision hunting, thermal hunting. And man, there's not an end in sight as far as this growth. It's got to though.
It's gonna end. We're not there yet. To be honest with you, I think it could happen overnight when it happens. It could be economic related. That's something that I know we're keeping a close eye on with everything that's going on in the economy and the stock market and crypto markets and all this stuff and worldwide, tensions over in Europe and Russia. So who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. But right now, the industry just continues to grow and explode. Like you said, there's more guys than ever getting into this. Part of it is that there's more states, as you said, opening up and legalizing night hunting, and it's just a trend that it's been very, very positive. And let's be clear here: as this sector of the hunting industry is growing like crazy, the whole market has grown. I mean, it's not just night vision and thermal hunting; it's all kinds of whether it's gun sales, ammo sales, camo, backpacks, bags, blinds. I mean, everything has just been booming in this industry as this, hobby and sport has continued to grow. But man, you're right. The thermal world has changed so much in just the last few years. And I think the one thing that I'm seeing is just the amount of new competition that's on the market. I think it's a good thing. Now, we're going to kind of get in here in a minute, and we'll give some negatives of competition. But, if you look back just a few years ago, there was a point that, and Hans, I hate saying years because then I'm always wrong because time flies. But 2-3 years ago, in the range of $3,000 to $4,000, $3,000 to $5,000. I'm not sure if there was more at one point. Might have only been about 4 scopes on the market. I mean, Pulsar had a small handful, maybe 3 scopes. Then we had, at one point they only had the Trail XQ38 and the Trail XQ50, and we had FLIR in there at that time with the PTS 537. That was about it. I mean, literally, people would call and go, "Hey, I want to spend $3,000 to $4,000 or whatever," and it was like, "Well, I got 2 or 3 scopes we can talk to you about." And now, good gracious, there's so many scopes between $3,000 and $5,000.
Oh, think about how many scopes.
Tons.
Think of how many scopes there are just between 3,000 and 3,500. I mean,
oh my
gosh,
it's
a
lot.
You're exactly right. There were, you didn't have many choices 3 and 4 years ago, which kind of makes things a little bit easier. But with all it seemed like last year. It seemed like almost every week or every other week we were doing a review. I mean, of a new optic, brand new optic.
It is so true. There is so much competition. I mean, we've got, think about this. In the last 2 years, we've had AGM. We've had Bearing's been around a little longer. I mean, again, I want to be clear, guys. Some of these companies may have been around longer, but I mean like really making a mark, blown up in the thermal business. Bearing's been around a couple years. AGM came on the scene after them, then iRay. So let's think about that. 3 of the biggest names out of, 5? Yeah, Pulsar, Envision. I mean, Trigicon's still hanging around out there. So even if we bring Trigicon into this, let's say three, call it 6 brands. 3 of the 6 have really started making their big waves in the last 12 to 24, 30 months at most. That's crazy. I mean, that is just crazy. So, no, I think competition is definitely there. Competition obviously creates, it makes everybody get better. There's no doubt about that.
It's crazy that we're selling, as many scopes, but, we're selling hundreds of AGM scopes. And 3 years ago, nobody ever knew who they were. They weren't even around.
Well, they didn't exist.
They didn't exist.
Yeah. And and Bearing,
and same with Bearing.
thing.
Yeah.
Bearing just came out there just out of the gates with those hogsters. And then you know what? You got companies like Pulsar, and this is what I like about Pulsar. It's the slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
They're not going to have more optics than anybody else. They're going to have a select few that are going to be fantastic.
Right.
And you're not going to get enough of them, and everybody's going to want them. And it's just this methodical, slow and steady quality. We're not going to release, 12 new scopes. It's going to be 3 or 4 here or there. I don't know, man. It's a testament to they're still around. And hey, I'll tell you what, and we're going down memory lane real quick, and we'll move on from this to the next one. But when I started doing this in 2013, Pulsar, okay, we had Pulsar. We had ATN, which we don't sell ATN. I'm sitting here thinking that was it. None of the companies that were there then are still here now in their same form, and none of the other companies. I mean, Envision, AGM, iRay, Bearing. Again, I know Bearing's been around a long time. Envision's been around, but they were not doing what they're doing in the thermal hunting market, and so it's just amazing how much change there has really been. So, moving along. Another thing, Hans, that I think is a big deal is I get this comment all the time. I want a good thermal scope, and I just care most about the image quality, the reliability, the customer service. I don't really care about all the features. I don't have to have video recording and streaming and all that stuff. I mean, if it's there, fine. I don't have to have it. That's not what I'm after. And I say, you can't hardly get a scope without it anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult to get a scope that doesn't have all that.
Well, think about how many scopes now this year that are coming out with laser rangefinders. I mean,
oh my gosh!
A year ago you had just a few models that had laser range. You didn't have a lot of choices. Man, this year you're going to have monoculars with the fusions. You're going to have the varmints. You're going to have the Thermion 2 XP50 LRF. I mean, it's this year is going to be all about, as far as features, the laser rangefinder. I mean, I think it's going to be something that's going to be as common as video recording here in the next couple of years.
So that's a great point. So let's look at that. My years are all screwed up. It's 2022, 2021. In 2020, there were 2 scopes that we had with laser rangefinders, the Pulsar Trail XQ50 and the XP50. That was it. No handhelds. That was it. And maybe I take that back. Excuse me. Maybe at that point there was an Accolade with an LRF in it, and that was it. Now we've got the XRF from Envision. The most expensive thermal scope, obviously the top of the line. They've got one. Pulsar still got there too. They've got the Accolade comes standard with a laser rangefinder. They had the Axion with the laser rangefinder. We just got announced a new Axion model laser rangefinder. You mentioned it, the Fusions. There's 3 of those models laser rangefinder. We've got the new Bearing Hogster, Super Hogster coming, laser rangefinder.
Both the
who am I leaving out?
Both the Ricos.
The
have
Ricos.
attachable
That's right. The iRay Ricos.
Yeah.
So, just crazy. I'd have never guessed that we'd have gone from almost none to
Yeah.
every brand has a laser rangefinder option now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the new standard feature. I don't think everybody needs it, but I think that it's going to be there, and it's going to be an option now if you want it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And people, it's like back a couple years ago, people were like, I don't care about recording video, but it's on there. But if it's on there, that's fine. Now it's like you said, it's hard to find a scope that doesn't have video recording. And these are all positive things. I mean, it's like, but we always use the analogy of buying trucks, but try to find a truck that has the old crank, window opener,
right.
But
right. Now, I don't need air conditioning. I don't need that. I don't need the FM radio. I mean, sorry, buddy, it's coming.
Try to find a truck that's a standard,
they don't exist.
Yeah. So there's things that are positive trends, but that also affects pricing and availability. I mean, it affects a lot of different things, but these are definitely the laser rangefinder. You're right. It's not a feature that everybody needs, but it's like, heck, man, if it's going to be on there, might as well, might as well get this one or might as well. If it's only, they're doing it now. The companies are getting you, they know what to do. They're doing, this non-LRF version at one price and the LRF version at just a slightly higher price. Like such a small difference that it's almost like a no-brainer. Man, they got you hooked just because that one feature, to step up into the next model.
Yeah, they're definitely nickel and diming you. I mean, just a couple hundred more. Why not get it? And so that's there is definitely they know what they're doing.
Well, I talk to people all the time, and it's like, they're like, okay, so is this scope worth the money? Yeah. And then just say, well, if I step up into this next model, is that one worth the money? And I said, man, I'll tell people, I was like, man, we could do this until you got all the way up to $10,000, because the next step is always going to be a little bit better. But I mean, at some point you got to decide what your budget is, what your ceiling is, and stop it, because it is a rabbit trail that you can get off on and not find your way back.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I ran into that yesterday talking to a guy on the phone, and he was like, man, my top budget's $4,000. I said, okay, man, no problems. We talked about 3 or 4 scopes, and we got it kind of numbered down. And I mean, I thought we were done. I mean, I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, this is the scope, whatever. And he goes, well, just out of curiosity, I mean, what would it change if I went to 5,000? And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. So we talked about a couple scopes, and he was like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'll stay here. I was like, okay. And he goes, what about 6,000? I was like, wait a minute, what is your real budget? And
let me just go ahead and show you the Envision XRF. How about let's just
that's
skip
exactly
all the
what I told him. I said, before long we're going to be at 9,500.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Right.
But you can just nickel and dime yourself there. So for sure. So, but you know what? With all these features, you're getting increased value. I mean, you're spending, maybe the same money, but getting more features and better image quality. And so I think that's, it's a positive trend.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So the increased value that you're going to get, we'll talk about the next one, which everybody asks about, and I'll let you talk about our last point for positive trend. But people, when they call and if you're out there looking for an optic, most of you aren't saying, what's the cheapest thing I can get? Everybody's saying, what's the best bang for the buck? So, that's value. What makes my dollar go farther? What am I getting the most out of? And I know that's what people care about more than the cheapest optic. Because I know I've not had one person ever call me and say, or ask me or email me, what's the cheapest optic I can get? It's the best quality for the best bang for the buck. I don't want to overpay, but I know that I have to pay a little bit of a premium to get quality. And I think people are okay with that.
Yeah. So that brings us to the last one, and that is low prices. I mean, the prices, I think we're seeing the trend of pricing dropping some. Now, I know that this is the way that I see it. I see that the bottom of the market is staying at the $2,000 price range. Okay. Right. And I say bottom of the market. I mean, that's the entry level. That has been entry level at $1,900 when the Pulsar Core RXQ30V was announced in 2017. That was the least expensive, thermal scope that had been released, period. Plus, it was just a great all-around scope. We're still seeing that kind of pricing, like the AGM Rattler, $19.95. You got the Bearing Optics Hogster 25 down there, close to that. So $2,000 is where I see the bottom being. Yes, we've got some of these new 256. Lower resolution. I call them sub entry level optics. They serve a place for some people, but I don't think they're not entry level.
Right.
Okay, entry level is really still in these, better image quality 384 scopes. I mean, my opinion is if it's not good enough to see, identify close to 200 yards, then it's going to be, in my opinion, sub entry level.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's not like, oh, we've got $2,000 and $2,500 scopes. This is the cheapest or the lowest price scopes we've ever had. There's been $2,500 thermal scopes and $2,000 thermal scopes around for a while. But think of think of the quality of the optic now versus. I just think back to 5 years ago, the old Armasight Predator 336s, and compare that to a Rattler 35 right now. It is night. It's almost like you're not even looking at thermal. I mean, compared to what it was 5 years ago. So the prices, I think, you're talking about lowering prices. It doesn't mean these are the lowest prices that there's ever been. It means that for the quality of the optic, these are the lowest prices that there's ever been.
And the features that you talked about.
Right.
We're getting more features. I mean, we take a Pulsar Core RXQ30V, I mentioned, $18.99, however many years ago that's been now, 5 years, whatever it is. Right. It was a super scope, amazing at the time, but it was a fixed focus. You could not record video. You couldn't even hook up an external recorder to it. It had a standard non-quick detach mount, and all these things. Compare now, we look at this Rattler and these Hogsters. They're coming with quick detach mounts.
Right.
They are. I mean, the Rattler comes with an American Defense mount. At that, the Rattler has video recording. The Bearing still has a quick detach mount. They've got focusable objective lens. The image quality blows away stuff like these old RXQs now. And so, and we're talking about maybe they're $100 or $200 more than the RXQ, but look how much more of an optic you're getting in the same price range. And I think we could do that same thing as we move up into those mid-range thermals in that $3,500 range.
Yeah.
You're getting such a better scope now for that same money than what you were getting 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And this is something that Hans and I've made the point a lot on this show. And I know it ruffles some feathers sometimes, but guys will say, and I hear this on the phone, guys say, man, I'm just tired of reading and seeing about all these, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9,000 scopes. I don't care anything about that. I just want more scopes down here in my price range. Listen, you're getting more. Yeah. There's more than there's ever been, and they're better than there's ever been. And here's the reason why. It's because the top end keeps getting better. If the top end tops out and it cannot get better, then the bottom end doesn't get better because it trickles down.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the way it's always happened. That's the way, and it's not just the thermal market. It's any market. The top gets better. The last year's model gets pushed down a little bit, and the prices obviously on the bottom end. Maybe the prices are staying the same, but the value for the dollar we've already talked about is what's getting better. So very, very excited about that. It is it's really, we joke about this and we say it on the show all the time, but it's a good time to be in this hobby, in this sport, whatever it is. There is a lot going on, but as we talk about these lower prices and these more features and the whatever, I get a little nervous because this moves us to the negatives. And I think one of the negatives, as we change gears, is I get nervous when there is a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. I get nervous when it becomes who can make the cheapest thermal scope, who can make the cheapest night vision scope, who can make the scope with the most features for the lit. And you go, well, all these things sound good to me. We have to be careful that we're not, giving up things to get there.
Right.
That this mass production, that the quality of the components goes down. That we give up image quality, we give up customer service, whatever it is. So I just get nervous when the prices get super competitive. Let's be honest, folks. If company XYZ says, gosh, guys, I mean, look at what company ABC is doing. We got to compete with that. And, we can't give up our profit, and we've got to, make X amount of money. And if we lower our prices, we have to sell more scopes. What are we going to do here? There's going to be a corner cut somewhere. And that corner is either going to be in customer service, that corner is going to be in cut in quality control or quality of the components, or hey, longevity of the components. Nobody wants to buy a scope and think that a year after the warranty the thing might die. But again, and I'm not accusing manufacturers of this at all. I'm saying I think it's something that could be a problem in the future that we don't want to see. So that makes me a little bit nervous as we race to the bottom.
It's almost like our clothes washer. It's like it knows knows when the warranty's out. It's like, okay, the warranty's done, I can go ahead and break. You and I talk about, we use the analogy, we talk about fidget spinners a lot. I'm sure that the very first couple fidget spinners that were invented and produced were amazing. But what about the 2,937th, fidget spinner? You think that one's awesome quality? You bought at
the gas station for 99 cents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That one's probably not as awesome. But I'll tell you this, and you and I say it all the time. If you see the optic on this show, or if you see it, if we're talking about it, if we're reviewing it, there's a reason. I mean, that means it's a quality product that is worth a review, that is worth us talking about it, hunting with it, because we're not going to hunt it, we're not going to test it, and we're not going to sell it if we don't think it's quality enough to be sold. So there are many, and we talk about, the flood in the market waters down the quality. There are companies on here that you may not even have heard of that we haven't reviewed scopes from. And we're not going to name a bunch of names, and I'm not talking about ATN. I'm talking about other companies, well-known companies that we haven't reviewed some of the optics from, and some companies, like you said that are overseas. Jason and I, when we were at SHOT Show last week, we saw companies that that we know who makes their scopes. Other people are selling their scopes. It's just got another name on it. It's just crazy, y'all. I know this is a lot of behind the scenes information, but there's so much hitting the market right now that it is hard to know.
It's kind of the Wild West.
It is it's a gold rush. It's the oil boom, and everybody knows that this is a quick way, an easy way to make $1. And there's a lot of people overseas that are begging for manufacturing business. They want to manufacture these thermal scopes, and they're willing to do anything for somebody over here to put their name on it and put it out there. That's why, it's important in that regard. Don't just trust us. Don't take our word for it.
Sure.
Get as much information as that's out there about the optic that you're trying to get. But the more of these companies that we see pop up, and the more that these scopes, you're like, hey, I've seen that scope before, but it's not with that name. It's another brand, but it looks similar to this. I mean, there's a lot of that going on, and that's okay. But making sure that you're dealing with a manufacturer that's reputable is a big part of it, and obviously a dealer. But what this means with the increased amount of competition, and we talk about competition being a good thing. Well, here's where kind of competition might be a little bit of a negative. If there's way too much in the market, it does create a problem, not just with the quality of the optics, but also somewhat customer service, not just from the manufacturer, but sometimes with the dealers. I mean, because you've got dealers also that are popping up like crazy. So I always tell people, buy from a good manufacturer, buy from a good reputable dealer, because they're there to help facilitate the process. But I think even more than anything, and I guess this is good job security for us, is the increased confusion. Because before 2 years ago, we would talk about, people would call up and they're like, hey, tell me, the difference between these two scopes. Now it's like, tell me the difference between these 10 scopes.
But that is a negative.
It
is a strong negative, is the amount of confusion that people have.
Right.
It's really so. And I want to go back, because you were making a lot of great points. There's a couple of things I want to bring up, and I'll come back around to this confusion. But, I know that there's guys that are sitting here listening to this going, well, I don't know why you guys are upset. Everything you said, all this sounds good to me. More features, prices coming down, more competition, all that's good for the consumer. It is to a point, but, you don't listen. We all shop at Walmart. Okay. It is what it is. We shop at Walmart because the mom and pops all got put out of business by Walmart, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
And you don't go to Walmart because that's where you get the best customer service. And it's not where you go because you get the best products. Okay. You go because you get it all under one roof. And if you live in small town USA, that's the only place you're going to be able to go to get it. And, look at the name brand products that you can buy at Walmart that name brand used to mean something, and now it means nothing.
Right.
Look at Lowe's. You can buy John Deere lawnmowers at Lowe's. I hate to tell you something. That John Deere lawnmower is not like the John Deere lawnmower you used to buy down there that was parked next to a 100-horse tractor at your John Deere dealership. Totally different, made just for that. Now, I know I'm kind of down a rabbit trail, but I'm making the point that once the market gets too flooded, things go down and it gets bad for everybody, and it just turns into a big fat mess. Nobody knows what's quality anymore. You don't know if there is quality. So anyway, it's not something that we like to see when it gets too bad. Now, moving on back to where you're talking about here and confusion. That is something that gets to be a major problem. And when there gets to be so many scopes that, truthfully, you're getting 3-4 scopes that it's a toss-up sometimes. It's like, which one's better? Man, what are you doing? And it gets hard for me sometimes down to 2 scopes. And I tell a guy, like, listen, for what you've described, both of these scopes will work just fine. You're going to have to pick one. I mean, I'm going to help you, but you're going to have to pick one,
Right.
So.
Well, that's, we talked about some negatives, and yeah, you're right. Are they negatives? Yeah, a little bit, but it's still a great time to be in the thermal business. It's still a great time to be part of this sport. Such a close community. We appreciate everybody. Gosh, I mean, all the people that listen to the show, that watched all of our SHOT Show episodes. Jason, there was actually people that watched all 5 episodes last Tuesday. And then watch the show Thursday. I mean, they're hooked on it, and people calling like, man, I watched all your episodes. And I'm like, are you crazy? Why? No, why are you watching all this? But no, it's great to see. And definitely the overwhelming trends are very, very positive. But the reason why everybody stay tuned for this long, not just because we're awesome, hosts, but free stuff, man. What's up with the free stuff?
Hey, American Defense Manufacturing. If you don't know what's going on here, American Defense, huge friends of ours. Hans and I love the guys over there. We talk about American Defense every time we get the chance, because they make, in our opinion, some of the very best American-made mounts on the market, as well as some of the very best AR-15s.
AR-15s. Well,
and AR-10s.
2-3 years ago, I'm not going to say nobody knew about the ADM, the American Defense Manufacturing Recon mount, but I like to say that we made that the Thermion mount. I mean, in the industry, the American Defense Manufacturing Recon mount is the Thermion mount. There's nothing else.
It is. I mean, it's there. There's other mounts, but I tell you, I think there's more Thermion sitting in American Defense mounts than anything else. And I don't know how much credit we get for that, but probably not much. Not much. But no. So American Defense, very, very kind, and they said, hey guys, we've done this before. We want to give y'all some mounts. We're going to put the Outdoor Legacy logo on the stuff. And we want y'all to give these things away. Also got some other swag, some caps, some T-shirts, calendars, all kinds of stuff. And so we did a sign up for 2 weeks. Let y'all go to the latenightvision.show.com and register there. We had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of entries, and we were giving them, do them separately for the Sight Mark Wraith mount, QD mount that American Defense makes, as well as the AD Recon mounts that are 30 millimeters. They work for any normal 30 millimeter tube rifle scope. So we've got 4 of the American Defense Recon mounts, and we've got 4 of the American Defense Sight Mark Wraith QD mounts. These QD mounts work for all of the both HDs as well as the 4K Max. So we have got the whole big list, got it out on a Excel spreadsheet, random numbers. Here is our winners. All right, let me find a piece of paper.
I could just imagine Michaela and you in office, and Michaela sitting there picking out random numbers, off the spreadsheet.
Exactly.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
So here we are. This is for the Recon 30 millimeter mount. We've got 4 winners, and they are Bob Wayrock from Missouri,
nice.
Steve Slocum from Michigan, Mike Cruz from Louisiana, Craig Dunlap from Texas. So congratulations, guys.
Awesome.
You put your address and everything in there. So in the next few days, we'll be boxing this stuff up. We will be shipping it to you. If you put your address in there wrong, then your neighbor is going to get some really, really cool stuff.
They're confused. They're going to be very confused.
They're going to be confused. But yeah. So, all right. Next is going to be the Sight Mark Wraith QD winners. We got 2 of those. We have got Zach Hilton from Texas and Edward Stanhope from Florida.
Nice.
Same thing to y'all. Congratulations to these 6 winners.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll get everything boxed up, shipped to you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to contact us because you already put your address and all in there. So we will get this shipped. I can ask you to do one thing. When you get the stuff, if you're on social media, if you're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, take a picture of the stuff and tag American Defense Manufacturing in
Absolutely.
it. Or, if you're not on social media and it's, or you're not comfortable, you don't know how to do that or whatever, no big deal. Send them a private message. They're on Facebook and Instagram. If you're on any of those and you win this stuff, just go in there and just tell them thanks. I mean, they are great people.
Yep.
And we want to let them know, again, how thankful we are for them supporting this industry. And anytime you're looking for high quality mounts, be sure to go to them first, check them out. AR-15s, Hans and I can speak from experience. These guys have got some fantastic rifles. Go check those out as well. Just a great group of guys over there. Again, American-made products, and that's what we like.
Thank you, American Defense Manufacturing. Congratulations to the winners. I know they're going to get some good use out of it, and those Recon mounts will fit any daytime optic that is a 30 millimeter tubes too. So that's cool. Be able to use it on either a thermal scope or a daytime scope. So if you are interested in any night vision or thermal optics, please give Jason or I a call, 877-350-1818. You can talk with either one of us. We're busy, but I tell you what, we are very good at calling everybody back before the end of the day. At some point before the end of the day,
there's probably some guy who's out there going, they didn't call me back. It was an accident. Call us back.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we do a pretty good job of catching everybody.
I think so.
877-350-1818. OutdoorLegacyGear.com. Go check out all the optics on the website. You can find Jason on all the socials over at Facebook, on Instagram, Outdoor Legacy. You can find him also on YouTube at Outdoor Legacy. You can find me on YouTube, Hans ETX, and also on Instagram, Hans ETX. I want to tease something real quick. Every year we do a coyote hunting tournament. There's several of you that have said, hey, next time you have the tournament, let us know. That way, because some people want to enter. It is the Conway Farms, the coyote hunting tournament that we do every year. It's February 12th and 13th this year in East Texas, little town called Murchison. Not even a stoplight. So you probably never heard of it. But if you're interested, you can definitely reach out to me. You can email me, hans@outdoorlegacygear.com. If you want to enter to win, I'll point you in the right direction. But yeah, we're excited about doing that. Every year I get a little older and a little bit less excited about staying up all night long about doing it. But good times and good people. Enjoy seeing everybody out there.
All right. That sounds great, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back here, good Lord willing, next week with episode 196. Between now and then, we hope that y'all will go check out the latenightvision.show.com so you can see all the past episodes there. Again, on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Same thing if you're on a podcast app. We really appreciate all your support. So y'all, between now and next week, y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.